Right, welcome back to Hooner's Shed and part one of Project Clock Holder. I don't know what else to go. Project Clock Holder, that'll do. So I've got some steel, I've brought some checker plate metal, I've got a bench grinder, some files, a hacksaw, an angle grinder, some drill bits and a few other bits and pieces. So I've got, for the first time, I've got to fabricate something to fit this bike. So stick around, stay tuned, and we'll see how badly wrong this can actually go. So what I've got to do is fabricate something that'll I can bolt down in here that clears the ignition, that holds the frame for the clocks. But I've also got this speedo cable. Now I've done a quick check and I can put something between that and the hole. It's big enough to do it, but I don't know whether or not I should. That's another problem. Yeah, so I've got to incorporate that into it somehow. I can bring a flat piece of metal out here into sort of like a triangular shape is what I'm thinking, with something cut there. A couple of holes to hold there, and then some way of holding this in place so I can connect it to the digital converter into the new clocks. So that's the plan. Right, so luckily this bit's got a cut in it. It is wide enough, no problems, and I've marked it out. Just need that little section there. New angle grinder. I could use a hacksaw. You're right, I could use a hacksaw. Power tool. Hacksaw. It's got to be a power tool. I'm sorry, it just has. I have got a hacksaw, but I just... yeah. Okay. I'm not going to video me doing it, because it sounds awful when you play it through a mobile. If you're wearing earphones, it just sounds absolutely terrible. So I'll come back with all my fingers and that done. Oh yeah, and before anybody comments, I do have the safety glasses. So back in a minute. So there we go, one bit cut. What I need to do is angle those in there. I want a triangular type shape, and then just round this out so that it clears the ignition. So I think I'm going to do that bit first, along here. I'll do that bit first and just grind off these corners so it's not as sharp, because I want to see how much that sits in before I decide where I'm going to cut up here. I don't want to cut, say, across there and across there, and I find out that because of this dip I should be cutting across here and across here. So I'm going to do that bit first and grind those off using my new bench grinder. Right, so after a good few hours work, and it's quite surprising how long this takes, this is what I've ended up with. Now, it does look a bit manky at the moment, but I haven't finished it. It will be painted. So those two fit over there nicely, and then there's a slot for the speedo cable to go in. But what I need now, so obviously if the handlebars were here, that's what it would look like. What I need to do now is drill a couple of holes. Hang on, let's put that in there. So drill a couple of holes that these two bits fall into. Obviously make sure it's level, so it sits up like that. But I haven't got a drill bit that's that big, and I haven't got any fasteners to fasten it down with. So I'm going to go and get some of those tomorrow, because this is about it for today, because I have to get ready for work. So I'm going to drill a couple of holes there and there to fit the bolts in, and then the speedo cable slots in the back there, and then everything plugs into that socket there. So I reckon that's alright. And then that'll sit on there like that. Excuse my finger, I wasn't being rude. And that'll sit on there like that. It doesn't look great, to be fair, and it's probably not going to look a very professional job when it's finished. I mean, this shape here doesn't match up and yada yada yada. But to be fair, most of it you're not going to see, because it's going to be hidden either by the clocks or by the screen. But I'll probably have to put the screen on to hide this anyway. So there we go. Then that's it. So that's it so far. Yeah, it does look pretty naff, and it doesn't look very professional, but I'm quite chuffed with that. I'm quite chuffed with that. It works. And I've got some changes I want to do at the front end of the bike, so it will work. Anyway, that's that. So, there we go. That's the end of project clock mount, or clock holder, or whatever it is it's going to be called. One basic outline done. It doesn't look very good, it doesn't look very professional, it's not symmetrical, it doesn't match up, but I'm still quite proud of it. I'm still quite chuffed with that. Bear in mind, I've never fabricated anything in my life. I do want to make some changes to the front end of the bike, maybe some upside down forks. I like this new Street Triple headlights, so I'm thinking about changing the round one for the Street Triple front end. So when I come to do that, and I'm using these clocks obviously on that as well, then if need be I'll make up a better bracket then. But I mean, this is just mucking around in the garage, just trying to get something to work so I can get the bike back on the road so that I can ride it again. It will be painted. I've got some spray paint. I will paint it just to try and make it look a little bit tidy. But you know, use what you've got. That's the metal I've got. I bought myself some new tools and I used all of them: the hacksaw, the drill bits, the grinder, the angle grinder, bench grinder, the angle grinder, and the files. Used the whole lot. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite chuffed. I managed to use all of my new tools. I've made something that looks really, really naff, but I'm still quite proud of it. So anyway, that's that. Next time, holes going in, mounted, dry fit, make sure it's all right, hang it up, spray it, leave it dry, and then we'll get to fit it. So join us for that one. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for tuning in, ride safe, and I'll see you next time in Hoonah Shed.